What's going on? It's Trending Story. If it's your first time here and you want to find out new facts that will definitely make you smarter and more well informed, make sure to subscribe and active the notifications bell so you don't miss anything.
Wilson Martins Coutinho from Rio de Janeiro is a man on a mission. He devotes his days to saving dying animals that have no one to care for them. He catches them in the streets and dumps and gives them a second chance at life. Yet, there are also people on the flip side of the spectrum who put the word human into humanity with their tireless efforts to aid animals in need. Wilson Coutinho Martins of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, is a man who has dedicated his life to saving animals in dire straits. He recently came upon a dog whose need for rescue was so graphic and dire that we at Little Things have chosen not to show you every image from this particular rescue. We have seen hundreds of dogs in desperate need of rescue, but this was by far the worst case we have ever witnessed. Wilson found this dog lying helplessly in a field on the brink of death. The dog was in immense pain, and its wounds were so severe that most people would opt to put the dog out of its misery. We have censored this image, but you can click the photo below to see the severity of the damage for yourself. He instantly ripped off his shirt in order to dress the poor dog's horrifying wounds. If he hadn't made this life-saving decision, the dog may have died on sight. One man in Brazil has taken on the role of guardian angel to dogs in absolutely desperate circumstances. The dogs he rescues would have little chance of surviving if not for his help. Pets outnumber children by the millions in Brazil, with an estimated 52.2 million dogs in Brazilian households, versus 44.9 million children. Close to 45% of Brazilian families have at least one dog. Although the majority of pet parents in the country love and care their dogs, there are still many dogs who are neglected and abused. Wilson Martins Coutinho sets out to rescue these animals. He finds and saves dogs that are on their last legs and usually suffering terrible injuries. Wilson was told about one such dog. They told him the dog was practically dead and living under an old car. He went to see if he could help. The dog had a gruesome head injury. The dog must have been suffering the wound for some time as it was already infested with maggots. Wilson was shocked that someone could leave an animal with such a mortal injury. Wilson picked the dog up and took him to the veterinarian clinic of Dr. Ronaldo Fernandez Cietano. The painstaking job of removing the maggots began. A salve was put into the dog's wound to help it heal. He was bandaged up and given antibiotics. Within a few days, the wound was already looking much better. The dog, too, was much happier and alert. Shortly after, Wilson could take him home where he would recover. The change in the dog is incredible. He can't stop smiling and is very happy to have been saved. In this video, we see the kind heart of Wilson shine in a series of rescues. He has an eye for locating rotting animals in unaccompanied corners. Many people would keep their distance from some of these warm-infested animals, but not Wilson. Wilson often covers those suffering animals with his shirt. He embraces them, calms them with their warm embraces, and encourages them that they will be taken care of. The dedicated Wilson lives a minimalist life, for he renounces his own comforts to care for the dying animals. No wonder Wilson is being hailed as the angel of the beasts by the people. We are in tears as we watch this touching heart video and helping those poor beings who do not know how to speak. Wilson has shown us that love is indeed a universal language. The dog was in a clear state of neglect, with a severe wound in the back of your body that possibly, if Wilson had not helped him, he would have caused a slow and painful death. The dog was named Davi, and as you can see from the pictures, he fought for his life from minute one. During his recovery, he had to perform several blood transfusions and give you some vitamin supplements. The recovery was slow, but eventually the analyses performed in the Sitter Exams Laboratorius Veterinario confirmed their full recovery. We do not know why the dog was in that state, but thanks to the help of Wilson and his colleagues found between Katia and Lucia Coutinho Martins, the animal has gone ahead and has recovered. Miracles exist, and this is a clear example. It is wonderful to know that in this world there are still people like Wilson and his companions. We were speechless, is admirable and beautiful. From Schnazi.com, hats off to people of this caliber who give everything and couldn't help animals. On one of his normal tours through the city, tours where he tries to rescue stray dogs from the streets, he stumbled upon a little dog, whose case was surely one of the worst he had ever encountered. The pictures alone will send a shiver down your spine. The little dog barely reached up to his knees, but the holes in his neck were big enough to stick an entire finger inside. The dog had been doused in boiling hot water every day, suffering indescribable agony. The following pictures are hard to bear, but this terrible affliction of pain is what this poor dog had to endure in its life. The only consolation is that a true animal friend took this helpless creature into his loving care. Disinfectants were given to Anja, and parts of her fur had to be removed. It was the only way to be able to treat the wounds. What Wilson saw was unbelievable. Following this, Anja was treated for fleas and ticks and was then wrapped up in bandages. When Anja woke up again, to help her get her strength back, she is fed some delicious dog food. The little dog's appetite gave Wilson the faint hope he needed to know everything would be all right. And for the first time, Anja fell asleep in a safe, dry home, lying on a soft blanket. The wounds wore her out terribly, and because she felt so safe, she fell asleep immediately. Warning: some readers may find the next two pictures disturbing and hard to look at. The next day, the wounds were inspected, but the shock really set in. Maggots had settled deep inside the wounds. Wilson and his colleague had to remove them carefully. Disinfectant was applied again, and even though only 1 day had passed, the inflammation had already reduced noticeably. Anja was certainly a real fighter. As a reward for her bravery, the rescuers gave Anja more delicious chow. Anja devoured the feast immediately, down to the last crumb. Her wounds were treated and washed every day. Even the worst swelling under her jaw began to decrease. Things were looking up for Anja. And then something happened that no one expected. Anja's wounds healed completely. The little fighter was so strong that hardly a scar remained on her flesh. Her fur just needed to grow back. Wilson adopted the little dog, keeping her until she found the perfect family. And as you can see, the little rascal had no problem staying with her rescuer for a bit longer. Francisco is just one of the many animals that Wilson and his friends have found and rescued in Brazil. Source: facebook.com, dogairs.com. To share this amazing rescue with others and to support Wilson's efforts, please share this article with others. Staff also had to put up with the foul smell of stale meat that stank the room. When the work was done, the wound was covered with a healing ointment and the wound dressed. Sobro will then have to take a lot of rest to get back on his feet. Wilson even came to check on him every day during his recovery. Donors also helped them with the vet's bills, and now all is well for this dog who had found happiness again. Still, people like Wilson deserve our admiration. If the story touched you, share it with your loved ones. A Facebook album containing all of the images of rescue and recovery has since acquired over 35,000 reactions. Moreover, the photos have attracted more than 10,000 comments from kind well-wishers. If Martins hadn't found these poor dogs as soon as he did, it's very likely that the dogs would have died from an infection or blood loss due to their horrific injury. Now, the dog has been given a second chance to lead a healthy life. So it just goes to show that love can heal all kinds of wounds. What an amazing recovery. Share this dog's amazing recovery with your family and friends.
Thanks for watching. Please like and share the video in social networks. We'll be right back to you as fast as we can.